Oh, it's you. Welcome back. It's the show where we interview some of the most brilliant minds. Oh, wait a second. No, this is the show where we just interview friends and talk about random things and hope that it sounds kind of interesting. Hey, whatever. Let's hang out. What is going on, guys? Welcome back. It is another Wednesday. We are here to give you guys something to listen to while you're on your drive, while you're doing whatever you're doing during the day. Last episode with James, we had a great time. We were talking about our top games as well as our bottom games, and it's been interesting. It's been a very interesting talk. By the time you guys are getting this episode, it should be the new year. It should be a new start to the year, so Happy New Year, you guys. Welcome to 2024. We are... What was that?
Exactly. 2024. Woo-woo! This year!
I was looking at the time frames for when everything was going to happen, and I was like, oh, this will be like the first episode of the new year. This is a great start. So...
Yes, the best yes!
So obviously, guys, no need for an introduction. You guys know exactly who this is. James, welcome back to the show.
Yeah!
Woo!
Woo!
So we are here to have some fun and kick the year off with a really fun topic of ours, sticking with the gaming, because I personally did not have a lot of gaming talk throughout the episodes that I did on my own. It was a lot more life stuff, which, again, I like that. You guys clearly resonate with a lot of that stuff too. But the topics that we bring in with James and other guests in here, you guys really enjoy, so I want to keep that going. So as always, you can find us on any social network using the handle at Letshangoutpod. You can join any topic, any conversation you want using hashtag Letshangoutpod. And for this episode, it is hashtag Retro Heroes. Retro Heroes. I will throw that up at the end of the episode again one more time for you guys. Big text somewhere here, somewhere. Might be over James's head. I don't know. It depends on who's on screen. So...
Little yellow bird, like the chocobo.
I will... I don't know if I can put a chocobo in here, but I'll try.
Use a Flappy Bird.
Yeah, well, there you go. I think I have a generic, duck. That might be it.
Oh, I love that. I love the duck. That's awesome.
James, again, welcome back, man. I love having you on here. I am excited for this one. And
I am too. I got some weird games that you will never think that I love.
So, why don't you explain to everybody kind of what the episode's going to be about, where we're focusing on, and we'll go from there right afterwards.
Absolutely. So this episode is specifically about retro gaming. So, what do you think about when you think of retro gaming? So when William and I were first talking about this, we were actually taken back and felt really old, because the PS2 is now considered a retro. Xbox is considered retro. GameCube is considered retro. Honestly, PS3 is considered retro. So how many games are out there now for all these systems? So I have a list of a little bit of everywhere.
So if we went everywhere, if we really went everywhere on this, man, I feel like we'd be here for a while.
Oh, I only have like 7.
Well, just to be clear, we did say when we planned this that we were going to talk Super Nintendo.
I have Super Nintendo on mine.
Okay, so making sure, because I'm like, every game on here is Super Nintendo.
There's a couple things on here I had to mention because they were that fantastic. That's where we're at.
That's fair. I'll probably throw a few in there too. So.
And you know what? It's a console that you've never owned.
That's fair. That's fair. I think they deserve a minute in the light, so that works.
Yeah.
All right, bud. Well, let's just jump right into it here. Super Nintendo, a phenomenal console, early 90s.
Oh, and one of the greatest consoles of all time.
I would honestly say a cornerstone of childhood. Personally for me, I put so much time into a Super Nintendo. We had the Nintendo, the Super, the Genesis, and I feel like I put most of it into the Super Nintendo because there was just so many games, and I have quite a few of them that I played on my list.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was fun.
Well, I mean, look at the library. What was it? I think there was 1,500 games or so. I think there's more than that, actually.
It's a monstrous
just
list.
on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And it was monstrous. The only console that finally came and took it over was PlayStation.
Yeah, and that was really it. Like, it carried on through the Genesis, and it carried on through, oh my god, what was it? The Saturn that came out afterwards. They tried to replace the Genesis.
I'm sorry. After the Genesis, Sega kind of just went downhill.
They did. But it was all those consoles that came afterwards, and the Super just continued to produce games.
Well, they emulated the Super. Remember, they brought that mini Super Nintendo out, and people ran at it. It was like $100.
Yeah,
it was like 45 games or something like that, and Star Fox 2.
Yeah.
I mean,
they had some actual, like, gems in there that you cannot get.
And exactly.
I'm so mad that I didn't get one. I tried. I really wanted one.
I did too. I couldn't snag one. It was so hard. I have the Messiah, which is the redo of the Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't come with anything on it. It just ran games better.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I love that thing. It looks like a regular Nintendo, just really thin.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they made that. I when you said it, I was thinking it was the retro one.
No, it runs games actually better than the original Nintendo did.
Oh, wow.
It never had that issue. You just plop them in and they just start.
That's... wow.
Yeah.
I might have to look one up, taking a note.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I love that thing. So, what is the first game on your list? Because I could not see your blurry list when you were trying to show me.
That means the camera's working.
Right. I really want to know.
So, okay. So there's not any order to my list, but I stayed laser focused on Super Nintendo.
I'm sorry.
No, it's like I said, we talked about it doing the classic consoles retro stuff, and we had made the comment of staying to Super Nintendo, so that's kind of where my brain stuck to.
Yeah, once we went to retro, I was just like, boom.
Yeah, which again, I'm willing to jump everywhere. I have no problems with that. The brain will fire off names. It's not going to have dates like these, but it's fine. We'll make it work. So let's see, earliest game that I have on my list, earliest memory that I have is F-Zero.
Oh, F-Zero. You know, I never played that on the Super Nintendo, but I heard it was fantastic.
It was the futuristic racer. You had these hover pods. The tracks were wild. It was fast-paced. That was 1990 when that came out, for just kind of a time of reference here, so not long after the system came out.
Yeah.
If I remember, it might have actually been a launch title, if I remember right.
That was an early console title game for it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's still going. They've produced more and more. They have a newer version out on the Switch. They actually have F-Zero 99, where you can hop on there and do the Battle Royale style.
Yeah, they just came out with that. I was actually just reading that investors for Nintendo are calling for a brand new F-Zero game.
Dude, it's so well received. It's such a loved game because it was just it was a change of pace for everything from your racers, because it wasn't cars and it wasn't just basic tracks. Like, you were in this weird futuristic world. Everything was bright and flashing at you, and you would go and get speed boost, and it wasn't like a just one-time thing. Like, there were these long strips you would have to coast down on your hovercraft and pick up speed to recharge yourself, and then once you got out, you could use your boost.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
That's so fun.
Dude, it was amazing. If you can pick up 99 and give it a shot, it's awesome. It is so good.
I'll have to try that. Yeah, it's interesting when gaming companies re-release or kind of like release like a sub-version of the game.
Right.
I feel like they're like the Mega Man collections. They're pushing the market to see if they should make a new one, and I think that's what Nintendo's doing.
I think so
we'll see
too.
if they actually do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll raise my hand. I'm a sucker. I bought the Mega Man collection. I needed it.
Right. I was playing it the other day. I was playing Mega Man 7.
Nice.
All right, that's a solid start, man.
What about you? Where are you going first?
I was a side-scroller fighter on the Super Nintendo for a lot of. I like those side-scroller fighters. So the first one on my list is Double Dragon.
Ooh, Double Dragon. Classic.
Double Dragon was fun. I would go there on the weekends. My mom would let me rent it. She had to rent it for me because I was underage, and because it was rated T for teen.
Right.
And you would get home, and it had that it was one of the first games that I remember that just had that fun fake blood splatter, and it was just fun to just go through. You had your brother with you. It was just a fun overall. The mechanics were great. The story was great. It was just fun. I love that game. I rented it a lot.
Same. And it was one of those. I remember very clearly going over to my dad's friend's place. It was he was a coworker of his, and their kids had it, and that was the place that had it. We didn't have it at our place because we had tons of other games. My dad had us stocked on Nintendo games, but we didn't have Double Dragon, so we'd go over there and we would disappear into their bedroom for the 4 or 5 hour visit and just play the crap out of Double Dragon.
Yeah.
There was that, awesome. And kind of a funny tie back to the last episode we had. Do you remember Double Dragon and Battletoads, the crossover game they had?
You know what? I remember it, but I never played it. Did you play it?
It was so good. It worked so well.
Did it really?
Yeah, you had the same. It was basically the same combat in both games, but it was this weird you could play as Wart, and then you could run in as Jimmy, and have this weird hodgepodge team go in and just kick the crap out of everything.
Oh man, that
dude, it was
fun.
So much fun.
Did they ever re-release that on anything?
God, I hope so. I hope it's on Switch at some point.
I've seen Battletoads here and there on the Switch. I never played a Battletoads game. It kind of eluded me.
Yeah,
but it always looks fun.
It was one of those, like I mentioned in the last episode. It was I remember it very clearly at the roller skating rinks and every now and then at an arcade.
I remember seeing the arcade.
Yeah, the cabinet was there. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's freaking awesome,
dude. It was so good.
I never thought about that. That's awesome.
I love the crossover games like that, the really wild ones, and sometimes they work. That was one of them that worked.
Look at Capcom versus Marvel.
Yep, there's a great example.
Those games are fantastic. I bought Infinite when it came out, and I played the heck out of it. I mean, who can't? Love
it was
Marvel.
a nice change of things. And I agree. It was awesome.
It was a change from Mortal Kombat.
From the cookie cutter Mortal Kombat. Yep.
Right. Always the same.
Well, staying on the combat side, I'm gonna throw out there one of my favorites. I actually got to play this last month. No, what is it? Episode's January, so back in October, 3 months ago at this point. I went on my annual trip to Vegas to go hang out with my gaming buddies, and we went to the Asylum Arcade out at Area 15, and they had Killer Instinct. They had the cabinet, the original cabinet Killer Instinct.
That's freaking cool.
Yeah, and it was
cool.
1994, and I can't even tell you the number of hours that my brother and I put in playing this game over and over and over. We sat there and tried to master the ultra combos. I remember, I still have it in my head. I can never do it in cabinet, but I still have the controls in my head. And I could probably still pull off Saber Wolf and Cinder's ultra combos without thinking about it. Just muscle memory.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember it was one of the few games that was out there on the Super that actually had a different color case.
Yep, it was the black cartridge.
Black case. Yeah, it was a black cartridge, and not very many games had a different colored cartridge.
Yep, it was the one distinctive piece of it.
Right, it was like the gold case for the original Zelda on Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly.
You know it's Zelda because it's holy looking.
Yep. Staring at it from a distance, you're like, you have Zelda. I want to play that.
So I never played the original Killer Instinct, but I played it when they relaunched it on the Xbox One.
Okay.
Have you tried the new one?
So you've missed it all the way through the growth process of Killer Instinct Gold, and 2, and I can't remember the other one. There was another one that came out.
Let me give you a clue on this one. I could rent Double Dragon, but I couldn't rent Killer Instinct. My mom's like,
that one's rated M and this one's rated G. No.
Yep. A lot more violence. I can confirm that.
Oh yeah.
There was blood flying everywhere. It was amazing.
It always looks so darn good.
But no, I haven't tried the new one yet. I actually was just looking at it on Black Friday to download and have on my Steam stuff, and I couldn't get myself to pull the trigger on it. I wanted to.
I played it. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed trying to do the combos with the wolf. Was it Silver Wolf?
Saber Wolf.
Saber Wolf. I'm sorry.
That's right.
But it was fun. It was great. And it's one of those classic games that they really just brought back with new graphics and everything.
Well, and we talked about it. We talked about it with the fighters in the last episode. That there was that cookie cutter. Everybody's the same thing, and then now everybody's got this slower combat. They didn't turn down the speed at all. Like, it's still just as fast paced, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. And that's Blaze Blue.
Yep.
And the Beast Roar, was it?
Bloody Roar.
Bloody Roar. I'm having problems remembering these things today. Bloody Roar was
a fighter game. It's in here.
Right? It's fighting for wanting to know what's going on. But Bloody Roar was at the same pace. It was fast paced, and you had to know the combos.
Yep. So
that's why I like the killer instinct on the new consoles.
Yeah, I think I will probably be picking it up and probably streaming it at some point. I just don't know when.
You need to do it soon.
I know. I really do. I completely forgot it was on PC to pick up at all. It just happened to pop up on my wish list forever ago. And like the sale popped up. It's like, hey, one of your wish list items. And I was like, oh crap, I forgot.
How much was it?
Oh god, it was down to like $15.
Oh, that's stupid cheap.
Yeah.
Hear that, people? Get it. Buy this game.
It's good.
Yes, it
very
is.
Good.
It was very good. It was awesome.
I think the reason I'm waiting is they were talking about doing a format change and doing like a I don't remember the exact name. It's like an ultimate edition where they give you all the extra stuff with the purchase, and they're like simplifying how all their titles are spread out into one thing.
If you look at the fighter games, there's always another ultimate edition.
Yep.
I mean, like look at Dragon Ball Z and all those. There's always another edition that comes out. Like, how many character packs are now for the Dragon Ball game?
Too many.
There's I swear, there's so many. I mean, I bought them all when the first big fighter game came out a couple years ago. What was that? Dragon Ball Z Kai or whatever? No, not Kai. I can't remember what the name is. Dragon Ball Fighters.
The ones with DLCs.
Dragon Ball Z Fighters.
Z Fighters is the one that came out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I bought all the character packages, and I thought I bought all the character packages, and then the show continued on, and then all of a sudden, here's like 10 more characters. I'm like, I give up.
Yep.
I'm done.
Yep, that was it, man.
I can't do it.
I went out and I picked it up because I really wanted to get Fighters, and I was going through the roster, and I'm like, oh, sweet, I can download classic Broly, and I can do Majin Vegeta and all this stuff, and I was like, that's what I wanted. Those are my characters.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, there's like the Dragon Ball Super characters. Like, there's a new Broly, there's the Super Saiyan Blue, and I'm like, I don't, what's powerful?
Right? Well, it's like Budokai. Remember Budokai 3 when it came out?
Dude, so many hours in Budokai 3.
Oh, I know. I know. I actually have the special edition for that with the Dragon Ball in the middle.
Oh, nice.
The box set. Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, but I put so many freaking hours in that game. It was insane.
Yeah, I was one of those. I was one of those suckers that went and bought Tenkaichi when it came out, and I still have Tenkaichi for my PSP.
Yeah.
It was
awesome.
It was good. Like, I know it got absolutely just ripped at because Budokai was doing so many more things that were better than Tenkaichi.
Yeah.
But dude, it was fun. Like, it's a Dragon Ball game. You can't go wrong with Dragon Ball.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't like that was because it just did that back behind the person view.
Well, no. Tenkaichi was the they were trying to make it a different version of Budokai. You still had the combat sequences, but it was free movement.
Oh, was that for free movement? Oh, that was the first free movement one. That
was the first free movement one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first person one, I think you're thinking like Xenoverse, if I remember right.
Maybe.
I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. I'll look it up. Okay.
Anyway, back to you, man. Your list. What do you have?
My next game is... you can find this in all arcades even today.
Okay.
Right? Big box arcades. But these games were great on the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
And it's one of your favorite TV shows.
Oh my god, gimme.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No.
Hold on. No, Turtles in Time. It was just fun. That's all it was. It was just fun. It was a fun, weird story. It was great. I loved it. Even when I go to the arcades when I was a kid, I would always play that game. See,
you got me all excited. You're like, it's one of your favorites. I'm like, yes, give it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Damn it. I loved the classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The NES version, which was stupid hard. I don't care who you are. That game was difficult.
What game on the NES that wasn't like that wasn't hard? Ninja Gaiden. Come on.
Ninja Gaiden was amazing. I played that. I played both the ones that came out on the NES and beat them.
I don't know how you're considered a god now.
They were tough, dude. I put hours in those, man. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember clearly. The mountain level was. We'll go back to that. We'll come back to the NES and talk about that in another episode. But yeah, Turtles was.
Turtles in Time was just one of those really fun games.
I remember Turtles in Time. I'm sitting here trying to remember it. It's all coming back. But that was fun. That was cool because they actually looked like the Turtles from the show when we were kids. Yeah. And I think that's why it was more fun, because the old ones were just, they all had the same dark red, the red bandana across their eyes. They all looked exactly the same and nothing like the show.
They look like lizards.
Yeah, that was it.
And a lot lizards with a backpack.
Yep. That's it. That's it. And it wasn't that. It was that weird shuffle motion. It was like.
Oh, I know.
That was the movement.
I know. But I gotta say, I love the original Ninja Turtles. I really, really did. I almost beat it, and then I died. I was like, I think I threw the controller on the ground. I was like, screw this. Yep.
Turtles,
I spent 3 hours trying to get here.
Turtles in Time was the redemption. That was.
Yeah. Exactly.
Actually, not on my list to kind of go with that, because I remember I played them at the same time, or what I remember being the same time. Remember the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game that came out with the movies?
Oh, dude. I went nuts for that game.
Everybody did. Nobody wanted to talk about it. I'm like, do you remember
the Zords game?
Yes.
The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord game? Oh my god. All the different Zords, you could battle them all.
Very few people mention it. I am so happy you know it.
I love that game. I wanted to own that game so bad.
Yep.
It was so fun.
I remember very clearly borrowing it from a friend of mine, because I'd borrow the Turtles game, and then I'd swap with him. Or no, I had the Turtles game. And I would swap with him for Power Rangers so he could play Turtles. And we did that for years. Just going back and playing, and then we go meet at each other's house and play Power Rangers, and then we go to the other person's house and we'd bring over whatever game. So if I went to his place, I'd bring Turtles, and we'd be playing that. And
exactly. Well, back in the day, that's how kids got along.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how you kept friendships. It's you have to have, or even just acquaintances, to trade games with them so you can play other games.
That was it. That was
your mom and dad didn't want to buy you other games, so you had to do this giant trade network of games with people.
Go hang out with your friend Jimmy. He's got it. Okay.
I remember going over to a friend's house and playing the Sega Genesis Lion King.
Oh my god, torture! Why would you do that?
I wanted to try something new, and
it was so much better on the NES or the Super NES.
Yeah.
The Genesis controller was just funky to work with.
I know.
All right, what's your next one? What you got?
Oh, you want to know what my next one is?
Surprise me.
Oh, we're going on a PlayStation.
Okay, we're going to veer a little bit. We're going to veer off the course.
No. The rest of my list is kind of veering, so I'm sorry ahead of time. But you're going to love this one.
Give it to me.
Final Fantasy 9.
I didn't play 9, remember?
I know, but what is wrong with you?
I didn't have it!
Then go buy it now. It's $9 on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, but see, then I gotta play it on the Switch, and that's just not working for me.
No. It's fantastic on the Switch. It's fantastic on the Switch.
I know, but yes, there is. I'm a PlayStation guy, and I played them all on PlayStation.
Well, then go download it on your PlayStation.
That requires time and money, and I'd rather listen to other people talk about Final Fantasy 9.
Fine, I'll tell you everything about Final Fantasy IX. I beat the shit out of that game. It was like Assassin's Creed for me before Assassin's Creed was even out. I defeated everything. Hades. I defeated the other sub-boss. God, what was his name? It was a giant planet. It was stupid. It was weird. I got the Ark. The only thing I didn't do is save the Queen because I couldn't figure out how to get my system to skip every cutscene, and I didn't care enough anymore.
You just want to get to the end game.
Oh yeah, I did. And the end game was great, but the funnest level in the whole game was, and it messed with so many people. I think it's on disc 2 or the beginning of disc 3. You have to go to and go through a giant castle, right?
Okay.
The castle is reversed. It has this reverse thing. So you walk into that castle, right?
Okay.
You think you're a badass. You're destroying everything. You get into a monster battle, you die. You want to know why?
Yes.
It reverses all your weapons to bad. All your great gear you have is considered horrible. So if you don't have anything from the beginning of the game, or even sub area, you're gonna suck because you have to switch to those weapons, and they're the badass weapons.
All these years listening to people talk about that game, and nobody has mentioned that level to me before.
It was so cool.
That
it was
sounds amazing.
Yeah, you walk it. It took me forever to figure it out. I don't know why. Okay. But you walk into this place, and I had everything. I had the big orc masher and all that stuff. And you go and swipe, and it did 1 point of damage.
Oh, I'd be so
And
mad.
I was just like, son of a bitch. Magic worked, but it was how much mana do you really have to play with? But I threw on that mage masher I still have at the beginning of the game from the first area, and I did 1,000 damage.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
See, those are the games, and that's the reason why I have such a hard time getting rid of first gear in games that are well, you can store your weapons. Sweet. The minute I can upgrade to the first thing, this stuff goes into my vault, and I leave it there because I'm probably going to need it for something stupid later.
Exactly.
I still have my first gear in Destiny, and I know that's not retro, but that's the best example I have. Is I literally have all the armor pieces and all 4 of the first weapons you get when you start the game still in my vault, and they are flat 0 on stats right now.
Right, Diablo for me. I hold all my gear for the most part. Anything I get that's rare or legendary, it goes to a vault, even if it's not good. I always kept it because anytime I started a new character, I would just move it to him.
Yep, that's it. Just boop.
Yes, I think I have a crown that gives me a minion that attacks other people from Diablo 3.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I just kept that crown.
There you go. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Does this entice you a little bit to get Final Fantasy IX and finally complete your Final Fantasy? Really?
I don't know if I go that far, but I'll think about it.
Better think about it.
I've thought about it for years. If that gives you any insight on what my option's going to be.
Yeah, you haven't bought Killer Instinct either, so we know where this is going.
But it's right there.
All right, give me your next one.
Okay. I'm going to hit you. We talked Bubsy. I'm going to skip Bubsy because we did that on the last one. Just know that it's there.
Okay.
I will give you one of the highest rated games that came out for its difficulty, and I beat it as a kid I don't know how many times.
What is it?
Super Castlevania 4.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We put so much time. My brother and I would take turns going back and forth with who would get to play and see how far we would go.
Yeah.
And we went all the way through, got to Dracula, beat Dracula, and we were kids, man. We were little kids.
Yeah.
I remember watching my dad and my uncle come over and try to play it and not being able to beat it, and then we finally did it at one point, and we go running. I'm like, Dad, I did it!
And the classic Castlevania games were just so amazing.
Oh, they were so good.
Oh, they're so good. 4 was great. I actually never got to play 4, but I've seen people playing it online. It looks so fun.
Swinging from the chandeliers and everything, having the flail as the main thing, and then upgrading it into the bigger chain flail, Dude, I loved that game. It was
Yeah.
so much fun. It was so
So
stupidly difficult the further you got.
So good, though. So good.
Yeah.
Did you watch the TV show?
I have not, because I've been kind of wanting to binge it all together and wait for whatever this new thing is that came out to get done.
Don't wait for the new one. Go watch the first set that came out. It's its own little world. It's so good. It's done.
Okay.
It did 4 or 5 seasons, something like that, but it's done. But it was excellent.
That's what I've heard. Nothing but great things. And
Yeah.
I really want to watch it. So
I already finished the new season that came out for the new series.
Okay.
Just as good. Just as amazing.
Sweet.
Yeah. Just as amazing. Yeah.
Oh, that makes me happy. Okay, I will definitely be watching that because, again, seeing this and writing this list down, all the memories of playing the game came back, and yes, I'm in.
I actually bought the collection on my Switch for Castlevania.
I
of the originals.
I wanted it, and
I bought it on a Black Friday a couple years ago. It was $5. Yeah.
Yep, I remember that, and I missed it.
It was great. It's great.
It was one of those, like, I didn't have any way to get it. I think we were out and about somewhere when it was on sale, and I didn't have my Switch anywhere nearby, and we didn't have, the ability at the time to log in on our phones and purchase it and have it in the library. So.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks.
All right, bud. What about you? Where are you going next? Since I'm gonna just keep reeling us back in here to Super Nintendo.
All right, I don't have Super Nintendo right now.
I know, it's fine.
but you know what? This console was killed by the PlayStation.
Ooh.
It is that console that came out. People were super excited about it, but all of a sudden PlayStation came out and just annihilated it for no reason. It had better graphics too.
That's arguable.
Cage match, you and me now. I'll fight anybody on this one. This is one of my favorite consoles. Sega Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to group these two together. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
Okay. I'm going to let you talk on that one for a second here. I want to check something and see if the game I'm thinking of is tied to Dreamcast.
Okay. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Sonic Adventure was amazing. It was the first full open world Sonic Adventure game.
Right.
And it even had other characters to play as. You played as Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Big, and it was just, and the Robotnik robot. I mean, it was so fun. You go do you can find all the different emeralds and get a better ending, and Robotnik was even actually really cool in the game. I really liked it. But you visited all these different little worlds, and then you could explore the world, and it was great. Number 2 came out. It was a lot more linear. You didn't have that open world concept to it, but it gave you a rating system more so on like how you did per level, and that was what made that fun.
So
and I
didn't have a Dreamcast, and you and I talked about this before the recording started. I didn't have a Dreamcast. I had to go to a buddy's place that had it.
Yeah.
And this entire time I've been sitting here trying to remember the name of this game. It finally popped in my head. And it is absolutely Dreamcast. So this is what I remember, the most vivid thing for Dreamcast. Okay. Psychic Force 2012.
I never played that.
It was one of the most unique fighters that I had played in the time, and it was the reason I wanted a Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And then we ended up sticking with PlayStation, and that's,
Was that the one where they kind of like fight in a giant cube?
Yes, that's it.
I did play that. It was a launch title. I went to a Game Crazy and played that. It was so fun.
There was that. Loved it. Panzer Dragoon Orta.
And I never played that one. I know what that one is though.
None of my friends had it, and I wanted to play it, and that was the biggest title of those that I wanted.
You know what? You know what is another sleeper game on that system, and it kind of just blew up from now, and it's still a game series today.
What's that?
NBA 2K.
God, was that on there?
It was.
Huh.
NBA 2K. I loved it. Fantastic basketball game on there. I haven't liked it ever since though.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm not a sports guy. Like, I think. Oh my God, what was it called? NBA Jam.
Oh, NBA Jam. Yeah.
Was that the one at the arcade with like?
Yeah.
The like 3-on-3 whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was my NBA experience. That was
what about NFL Blitz?
Blitz was also there, but I was also in my younger days a Madden junkie. So.
Oh, okay.
I was way more into football than I was basketball, but yeah, Blitz was huge.
I love Blitz. Blitz was so fun. I played on the 64 and it was great.
There was an NHL game that came out on the Super Nintendo that we had and we played all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we knew nothing about the teams, we knew nothing about hockey, but it was fun. And it was the best part was the best part was getting the players to fight each other. Like, it would just happen randomly.
Yeah.
If you hit them hard enough, and they would throw down their gloves and just start duking it out on the ice.
Right? Did you ever play Blades of Steel in the NES?
Blades of Steel.
It was a hockey game.
It sounds familiar.
It was crazy. I played that. It was so fun. Oh, he's looking it up. Let's see what he gets.
On the NES?
On the NES.
No, I did not play this one, but this looks very similar to the game we used to play on the Super.
It probably is like the first version of it, but it was, it was fun getting people to fight, and you literally watch pixel punches. It's so awesome.
This might actually be it.
Oh, did you actually play this one up? I don't know.
Stay tuned, folks. I'm checking information.
Well, William's checking information.
Yeah, go to your next one.
If anybody wants to chime in eventually and send us comments for new episode ideas, please go ahead. It would be fantastic. Please,
Absolutely.
please.
Okay, so it was NHL 94. That's the one I played.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
I know what you're talking about. I never played that one. I heard it was great.
Blades of Steel was the actual, like, side to side, so the goals were on each side of the screen. NHL was the top bottom.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. I want to know what your next game is.
I'm not even gonna build it up. Lost Vikings. Did you ever play the Lost Vikings?
No, I've never even heard of it.
So they had it on the Super Nintendo, and then they ported it to the Sega Genesis,
and
it sold incredibly well on both. You played as 3 Vikings lost in time, and you could alternate between any of the 3, and each one of them had a different skill set that they would be able to utilize. Like, there was one that had the sword, who was better for the combat and taking enemies out that were in the area. One was the jumper climber of the group, so he could reach higher areas.
Yeah.
And then you had a shielder who would block damage, and you could also use his shield as like a platform to reach higher areas with the jumper.
I'm sorry, this game looks freaking fun as hell.
It is incredible. It's like, I want to say there was some odd 30 something levels to it.
Wow.
But yeah, it sold incredibly well. It was very well received. I believe they made a second one at one point.
They did. There was a Lost Vikings 2.
Yeah, and they're great. It was like, if you've ever played Abe's Odyssey on PlayStation or any of the newer retro consoles. Same concept, that platformer style puzzle game, but this was different because you have the 3 characters that you could swap between while you played.
There's a massive graphics difference between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. It's really big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
But one set the stage for everything that they've succeeded in. Because it was so well done. The only thing that really kind of was boring about it was the story, because it was very much that they're lost in space, they're trying to get their way home, they're lost in time.
How many games came out that were like that at the time period?
Exactly. Do
you remember Super Mario's Missing? You're Luigi literally just looking through doors.
Yep.
Entire game.
That was it. But that was the era, man. They had those, and everyone's like, oh, they're so boring, they're the exact same process. Yes, they're all the exact same. Yeah. You have the same company writing the stories. Of course they're going to be the same for a year.
Exactly. I will never forget Mario Lost. That was such a horrible game. I was actually mad that I even rented it.
Oh my god.
Luigi's first big outing and he got screwed.
Yep. Oh god, it was I know a lot of people loved it, Yoshi Cookie. Like,
oh, I remember Yoshi Cookie.
yeah, like it was okay. Like, it wasn't bad. It's just it definitely wasn't what I was expecting when I got a Yoshi game.
Yeah, I want Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, exactly. That
Give
was
me
it.
Yoshi's
That's
Island all day long. I love Yoshi's Island.
Yep. So good.
Oh man. Okay.
All right, man. Well, I got you with one that you hadn't heard of. What's your next one? Let's go one more each and see where we end up.
Okay.
Biggest curveball you can.
Oh, it's not a curveball. It's just an amazing series that has kind of dropped off.
We can do amazing series. I'm cool with that too.
This is a broad statement.
Okay.
Tony Hawk. Just Tony Hawk. That's all you have to say. Like, every game was great. 5 was the downfall for me. But every game was fantastic. Underground. I loved Underground.
Underground was very good.
And you know what the funny thing is? I hated Tony Hawk, the first one on the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
But you throw that thing in the Dreamcast, and the speed and the graphics and everything was so much better on the Dreamcast than on the PlayStation. But then Tony Hawk 2 came out. Oh yeah, the Tony Hawk 2 came out, 3 came out on the PS2, 4 came out on the PS2, and you just went nuts. Yep. It was so fun.
I will admit that one of the first titles I got for my PSP was the Tony Hawk game that came out.
Right.
And it's still fun. Like, it was a different thing because you had the smaller controls with the PSP, but like, it was Tony Hawk all the way through. Exactly.
I bought Tony Hawk Underground on the GameCube, and I loved every second of that game.
Yep. I had to rent Underground. I would rent Underground because I had Tony Hawk 1 and 2. I rented 3. I actually picked up the remaster that came out.
I did too. It was fantastic.
So
I have it on my Xbox Series X. It's so fun.
It's the cleaned up look, the modern look. Like, it feels like it was never a PlayStation game. Like, it's brand new. It just came out. It feels great.
I gotta ask an old guy question because we're technically old now. So when you play some of these old games that get remastered, right?
Okay.
Do you feel like you can't do the stuff like you used to on the game?
Kind of.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, you used to play Tony Hawk and like do these massive combos, right?
Oh yeah,
I threw Tony Hawk in and I could barely do an ollie.
Yeah. I remember the old days of the 2-hour grind loop. Yep. Exactly. Yep. Oh. But, yeah. No, can't do it right out of the gate like I used to. Tony Hawk's a good one. All right, I got one more for you.
What do you got?
One more. I really wanted to make sure I mentioned this one because I love this game, and I didn't think that it was going to make it onto the Virtual Console on the Switch, and I'm very happy that it is.
Oh, what is it?
Joe and Mac 2, Lost in the Tropics.
What? I have never heard of this game.
Joe and Mac? You've never heard of Joe and Mac?
I've never heard of Joe and Mac.
Dude! Look it up. Look it up real quick.
Look it up. I need my nerd card taken away now.
Yeah, I mean, I stunned you with 2 of them today. I feel good.
I know. You're on it now. Joe and Mac.
Joe and Mac was a 2-person side-scroller adventure. And Joe and Mac 2 specifically was the game that came after the arcade version of Joe and Mac. And there was another mini adventure between it, Connor's something, I can't remember. They all tie together. So technically this is the 3rd one in the series.
Yeah.
But you could partner up with somebody or you could play solo and you would have the 2 brothers, Joe and Mac. They were cavemen and you would travel through different islands and stuff, battling different bosses who were basically just the giant dinosaurs at the end of it. You would collect stone wheels as currency. If you went back and gave the treasures that you found or meat to one of the ladies in the village, you could actually end up marrying the lady and having a kid in the game.
That's pretty cool.
It was ridiculous fun.
That's pretty cool.
And it's right up there with Little Nemo's Dream World or Little Nemo in Dreamland. That kind of game where I could put hours into it just by myself, and you just kept going. There was I think 6 or 7 worlds to it. Yeah. With varying difficulties, varying length of the levels, and it was
even on the Game Boy.
Yep. They ported it to Game Boy.
Wow. Man, I've never seen this game before.
Yeah, if you have the Super Nintendo, the emulator thing on the Switch, go in there. It's one of the free titles. You can play it.
Really? Oh, darn it. Now I gotta go play it.
Yeah, at least give it a try. Like, it's worth it because it's a classic. It's not super difficult.
Yeah.
But it's very fun. It's very... Like, that's my childhood. Looking at that, I go back to sitting in my room on my floor in front of my TV and just going to town.
Oh, very interesting. It even they came out with an Ultimate Caveman Edition collection for the Super Nintendo.
They did. That was a couple years ago.
And it came with a different cartridge color.
Yep.
It's like a black and silver with looks like dinosaur stripes on it.
Yep. I remember that.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great game. Like, it's very fun. It's very cutesy for the time. And it kind of built on the whole thing like the Mario games did, where you could have the two players on the same screen. Same general concept.
Yeah,
but very
exactly.
caveman, very its own unique feel.
It looks very fun. Darn you for sending me games that I need to play now.
You're welcome.
I already got enough games to play.
Honestly, I could probably be completely lost in nostalgia here, thinking how long that game was and how much time I put into it.
Yeah,
I probably just played it over and over.
It's like that was Aladdin for me. How many secrets can you find in Aladdin in one day? A lot.
Right.
A lot.
And then you look back, you're like, God, I put like 45, 55 hours into this game. You're like, it only takes 6 hours to beat the game.
Right.
Then what did I do for 40 hours?
Right. Do you remember Jurassic Park?
Yep. Oh my God, I hated Jurassic Park. Yes, we had it for the Sega.
So my sister took me and we saw the first Jurassic Park movie in theaters, right? Scared the Jabebus out of me. I mean, it was just crazy.
Jabebus, I like
it. I remember sneaking in a bag of gummy bears, and we just sat there and watched it.
It was such a good movie.
And then, for Christmas, my mom gave us Jurassic Park the game and Super Mario the collection that had all the original ones. Super Mario All Stars, that's what it was.
There you go.
And I tried to play Jurassic Park, and it just freaked me out so bad.
I like that you could play as the Raptor. Like, you could be either Dr. Grant or the Raptor. And I had more fun being the Raptor than anything.
You could be a Raptor?
Yeah.
I was always the person. I could be a Raptor? I could go kill things?
Yeah, you could have been a Velociraptor going through the levels. It was a little harder, but it was fun.
What the heck? I want to be a raptor.
Look it up. Jurassic Park Sega. It might be different. It might be something that was just on the Sega. I don't know. But I very clearly remember playing Jurassic Park on the Sega Genesis and being either Dr. Grant or the Velociraptor.
That's why. So I played it on the Super. The Super was different. The Super was completely different than this game. That's the weird thing about games back then with Disney logos on them and other games like this. Is there were so many versions brought out that it was just crazy. So the Super Nintendo version was a top down, and you play as a person.
Oh, whoa! What?
Right? Yeah, and you get these Velociraptors that come after you, and the T-Rex can just find you and eat you. It was crazy. It scared the bejesus out of it. But then you go then you can go into a boat, right? Like the ships and stuff that are on there, capsize, and look for things to shoot with. And raptors will just come out of a room and go, wow, wow, wow.
This looks more like the Super version of it. Looks more like a Zombies Ate My Neighbors kind of thing.
Right? But it scared the bejeebus out of me when I was a kid. All of a sudden, a raptor just popped out of the rock. And that still gives me nightmares of thinking that was the first horror game I ever played right there in my world.
So wild. I didn't even know they had this.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was just, yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Oh, I opened your world up to something else.
Yeah, dude, I didn't know because we got the Jurassic Park on the Sega, and again, you see the title, you're like, Jurassic Park. It doesn't say 1, 2, collection. It's got to be the first one, right?
Yeah.
So
that's the weird thing is people didn't realize how many different versions of a lot of these games that came out were different on each console.
Yeah, and I'm going to be curious. I'm going to dig into it a bit to see. I want to know if the Super and the Sega versions of that game had any similarities, or if they were, if like the Sega came afterwards and it was based on what was great about the Super, or just...
I think they came out at the same time. Like Power Rangers. Power Rangers had a game on the Sega and the Super, and they were completely different.
Yep, I do remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
That might be the case, too. It might be just two different experiences.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
Good list, though.
I gotta delete that just so I can stop having nightmares later.
Fair enough. Look, good list today. Like,
yeah,
good trip down the old nostalgic road.
I agree. I like that list.
I think we have a lot to talk about if we really wanted to go down the retro route for a while.
We'd be here for 7 hours.
We could go
every consoles. I didn't even touch PlayStation 2 or Xbox 360.
I mean, NES,
GameCube.
Sega, if we really want to get into it, GameCube.
Oh, yeah.
Game Boy Advance.
Pokemon Ruby!
That's a whole episode itself is just Pokemon.
Oh, man, we should do a Pokemon episode. I'd be all up for a Pokemon episode.
If we do a Pokemon episode, I almost feel like we need to be streaming the game while we're doing it.
I'm fine with that. I'll play Pokemon Red. Play some Pokemon Red while we're doing it.
We will have to figure something out. That sounds like actually a lot of fun.
That truck should have moved in the first games.
Yeah, but it didn't.
No, I wanted to move, darn it.
Yeah. I wish I would have known the glitch to get a Mew earlier, but I didn't. I ended up having to get my first one through a trade.
Oh, I didn't
even glitched a few of them, so I got one off a trade.
I didn't even trade. I went to Pokemon Fighting Championship.
Yep.
For Nintendo, and they gave everybody one.
Yep.
And then, stupidly, I put it into Pokemon Stadium, and Pokemon Stadium turned it into a Vulpix.
Yep.
And here's a Vulpix that's shooting ice beams.
Gotta love that glitch. I remember that one. Oh, Jesus.
I was just like, what is this? So I just turned it into a Ninetales shooting ice beams. It was great.
Yeah, dude, that was a nightmare. I remember the people panicking over that. Like, what happened to my Mew?
Yes.
And then you transfer it back and it's not a Mew. It's whatever it was.
I know.
Like, it's just gone.
I know. I was so mad. I was really mad about that. Oh my god, I was so mad about that. Oh. So, what does everybody think of our list?
Yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on the retro games that we talked about today?
Yeah.
Do you guys have any that we didn't mention that deserve a moment in the spotlight?
Yeah, exactly.
I would happily bring up another topic, another episode with games, and take people's suggestions for other ones to talk about.
Exactly. I would love to see a comment section for this, and then we take those comments and talk about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that would be great.
What are your retro games? What ones should have been recognized, or what ones do you think maybe we played and we just don't remember because there were so many of them?
What did we say earlier? 1,500 plus for the Super Nintendo alone?
Just for the Super, yeah.
Yeah.
It's some ridiculous number.
Yeah, it was insane.
So you guys, going into this, some behind the scenes talk for a second here. James and I had the goal to make a 40-minute episode. Looking at the timer, not counting whatever time we did at the beginning to kind of talk while we did pre-recording stuff.
Which is like 30 minutes.
Well, I mean, that was before the recording. Like, after we pressed the record button, we still had a little bit where we were taking care of business.
I know. We always do.
As of this exact second, we're at 56 minutes and 30 seconds, so we didn't hit our 40-minute mark. I'll see what this gets cut down to. I'm going to leave this piece in here so you guys know how long that full recording was. Based on, add whatever time after here for the outro and all the thank yous and stuff we do.
Just give everybody an idea. The first episode we did was almost 2 hours.
Yeah, we recorded like little over 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours of content. And I had to tear that episode apart to make it work. But we did. I think we did pretty good. Under an hour.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
We did pretty good. We're getting there. But I really want to know what everybody thinks. I want some comments. Please give me some comments to play with.
Yep. You guys throw them into the comments here. Twitter, TikTok, wherever this video gets put out there, wherever this little snippet's at, throw those comments down. I would love to highlight them. We would love to talk about them. But you guys, as always, thank you for watching and hanging out. I appreciate you guys. Again, this episode hashtag is Retro Heroes. Retro Heroes. You can tag that with hashtag Let's Hang Out Pod. You can find us on any social network at Let's Hang Out Pod. Episodes are coming out as frequently as I can get them to come out, and if they're not frequent, they're every other week, which is the plan we're sticking to. We talked about it back in October, trying to go for a weekly thing. It's still a goal. 2024 just started. Welcome to 2024. We'll see if it turns into a weekly thing. James, anything else you want to add in here before we send it out?
I just want to know what people want us to talk about. I mean, we can go from anything, anime to even like everyday life stuff. I mean, I don't have a problem with any of it. It doesn't bother me. What do people think? Honestly, I think an episode of Craziness of Black Friday should be fun.
Black Friday craziness.
You and I both worked retail. We got some stories.
Oh, we got stories.
Maybe like we should do an episode of Black Friday craziness. It's a holiday time period. We could probably sneak one more in. Maybe. I had one that came to mind. I'll throw it out here as just kind of like, thoughts to the universe and see what you guys all think about it. Coming in with a list of just the most subtle, what's the word I want to use here? Like subtle nuisances, things that bother you just slightly enough, like, the walking outside and your socks are wet kind of thing, like going to look for silverware and there's no silverware in the drawer. Like, what are those little things that annoy you? The minute my sock gets wet, I get pissed.
Yep, same. Nope, wet socks, not happening.
What did I step in this time?
And with kids and pets, you never know.
I know. At least I'm not the thermostat guy. The thermostat, the thermostat dad. Was your dad like that?
Yeah.
I didn't have to deal with that.
The don't touch the thermostat, leave it at exactly 70 or 68 or whatever. Yeah.
No, I didn't have to deal with that.
Yep. Mine's all like digital and pre-done, so if it changes at all, like whatever, I'll just press the button and turn it back. It's easy enough.
I got a sweater.
Exactly. And it works. It's a lot more cost effective.
Kid, you can hear kids' teeth chattering, but you got your sweater on. You're fine.
Put on a coat.
You don't like it? Get more clothes on.
Go grab a blanket. Shush.
It's awesome.
Oh man. Anyway, bud, I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out again. And
absolutely.
Little hint here for the rest of everybody listening in. We are kind of in talks here, seeing what James's schedule looks like. We may actually make James a regular co-host on here all the way around. So if you guys are enjoying what he brings to the table, let us know. Let him know, first of all. Because, again, these episodes, some of the most fun things I've done all year, just sitting around chatting with you and just BSing about all the things we enjoy.
Exactly.
I'm excited to bring some of the other non-gaming stuff on here. The joke battle that we threw out there as an idea a while ago. I want to see which one of us breaks first.
Yeah. I want to do a food battle.
Ooh, food battle would be good.
Like our favorite food.
Oh, food. Ugh, my fat heart agrees.
Look at me. Look at me.
Yeah, see,
I'm going down.
But the camera slims us down 10 pounds.
No, there's no slimming on this body.
Oh, there's plenty. I'm gonna take the image right now for this podcast, and we're just gonna flip just for a minute. There you go. He's lost 10 pounds.
I'm finally thin. I came out of fat baby. It's never gonna happen.
I came out of fat baby. That needs to be on a shirt.
I came out a month early and still was almost 10 pounds.
Oh my god. He's a big boy. Anyway. This is the stuff that we live for, guys. I love this. I cannot wait to share more of this with you. Anyway, let's Let's bring it back here, send you guys out for the day. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. If you were watching this on Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, wherever it's at, wherever you found it, I will catch you guys in the next episode. Have a great rest of your weekend, whatever's going on right now, and I'll see you guys the next time. Take it easy, guys.
Bye. Have a good one, everybody.